The morning sun cast long shadows across the perfectly manicured lawn of Gorat Steakhouse in Omaha, Nebraska. Warren Buffett sat in his usual corner booth, a well-worn newspaper folded beside his cherry Coca-Cola. It was 7:30 a.m., his traditional breakfast time, and the restaurant was nearly empty, except for a young man who caught his attention. The 20-something professional was frantically checking stock prices on his phone, his coffee growing cold and his breakfast untouched. Sweat beaded on his forehead despite the cool air conditioning. Buffett recognized that look. He'd seen it countless times before. It was the look of someone who was trading with emotion rather than logic. You know, Buffett called out, his voice carrying the warmth of a grandfather's wisdom, that phone won't cool down no matter how intensely you stare at it. The young man looked up, his eyes widening in recognition. Mr. Buffett, I can't believe it's really you. He introduced himself as Michael Chen, a junior investment analyst from Chicago. Come on over, Michael. Buffett gestured to his booth. Your eggs are getting cold, and cold eggs are about as useful as yesterday's stock prices. Michael gathered his things and moved to Buffett's table, his hand slightly shaking as he set down his phone. Let me guess, Buffett said, taking a sip of his cherry Coke. You're trying to time the market, aren't you? Watching every tick up and down like it's the last play of the Super Bowl. Michael nodded sheepishly. Yes, sir, I've been trying to catch the bottom of tech stocks. Lost quite a bit last month. Buffett leaned back, a knowing smile crossing his face. You know what I say about predicting rain? It's more important to build arcs. Tell me, Michael, what do you know about the companies you're trading? Well, I follow their stock patterns, technical indicators, and Michael trailed off as he noticed Buffett shaking his head. Would you buy a farm without knowing how to grow crops? Buffett asked, reaching for his newspaper. Or a apartment building without understanding rent prices? No, of course not, Michael replied. Then why would you buy shares in a business without understanding how it makes money? Buffett opened his newspaper to the business section. Here's what I've learned in my 90-plus years. The stock market is a device for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. He pulled out a pen and began writing on the newspaper's margin. Let me share something with you that my mentor, Benjamin Graham, taught me. There are really only three principles you need to succeed in investing. Michael quickly pulled out his notebook. First, Buffett said, holding up one finger, never lose money. And what's the second rule? Never forget rule number one, Michael ventured, having read this quote before. Buffett chuckled. You've done your homework, but knowing the rules and living by them are two different things. The third rule is the most important. Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful. He pointed to Michael's phone. Those minute-by-minute price changes, that's not investing. That's like playing poker without looking at your cards. Real investing is about buying wonderful businesses at fair prices. But how do you know what's wonderful? Michael asked, pen poised. Simple, Buffett replied, taking another sip of his Coke. I only invest in businesses I understand. Take this Coca-Cola. He held up his glass. I understand how they make money. Every single day, billions of people choose to put their quarters in a machine or hand them to a cashier for this product. That's a wonderful business. He continued, you know what the best investment I ever made was? Learning to communicate effectively. It wasn't a stock pick or a business deal. I took a Dale Carnegie course on public speaking. The certificate cost me $100, but it changed my life. The best investment you can make is in yourself. Michael was scribbling frantically. But what about market volatility? The uncertainty in today's economy? In the 20th century alone, Buffett mused, we had two world wars, a depression, dozens of recessions, oil shocks, a flu epidemic, and the resignation of a president. And the Dow rose from 66 to 11,497. Bad news is an investor's best friend. It lets you buy a slice of America's future at a marked-down price. He gestured to Michael's notebook. Write this down. The market is a voting machine in the short term, but a weighing machine in the long term. Your goal shouldn't be to pick what's popular now, but what will be valuable over time. As their conversation continued through a second round of coffee, Buffett shared more wisdom, the importance of having a margin of safety, the value of compound interest, the eighth wonder of the world, and why temperament is more important than intelligence in investing. Finally, looking at his watch, Buffett stood up. Time for me to head to the office. You know, Michael, investing is simple but not easy. It's like dieting. Everyone knows the rules, but few follow them. Before leaving, he wrote something on a napkin and handed it to Michael. Here's my final piece of advice. The most important investment you can make is in relationships. Money will come and go, but trust and reputation take years to build and minutes to destroy. Michael looked at the napkin. Written on it was a simple message. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. As Buffett headed toward the door, he turned back with a smile. And Michael? Switch to Cherry Coke. It's a wonderful business, and I should know. I own a few shares. The young analyst sat there long after Buffett had left, his notebook full of wisdom, and his perspective forever changed. His phone, still showing the stock tickers, lay forgotten on the table. Years later, Michael would credit this chance encounter for transforming him from a frantic trader into a thoughtful investor. He kept that napkin framed in his office, a reminder that the greatest returns often come not from the market, but from the wisdom of those who've walked the path before us.